Hello, this is Jamar Brown. I welcome you to another edition of the Break It Down Brown Daily Breakdown Show. This is a show that takes everyday life issues, topics, and subjects, and we break them down in order to find the deeper meaning behind the things that take place in our lives each and every single day. You can learn more by visiting JamarBrown.com. That's JAMARR Brown.com. And if you like this message, please share it with others that you believe can benefit from it as well. Well, today I want to break down the following statement: gratitude, attitude, action. Once again, gratitude, attitude, action. And where does that statement come from? Well, the other day I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about a person in her life that is struggling with something, is having a hard time. They actually set out to achieve some goals, and they hit a rough patch, and their life wasn't quite where they would like it to be, and they were feeling like, as my dad often says, sometimes in life, the people we are is not who we thought we would be. In other words, we all set out to achieve certain things. We all want to accomplish certain things. And sometimes we hit roadblocks and stumbling blocks, and we find ourselves in a position that is far from where we thought we would be. And we can end up feeling depressed and unhappy and stressed and a whole myriad of other emotions that come along when you're not quite where you want to be. And so my friend and I were talking about this situation and how so many people in life are in that exact same boat. And we were discussing some ways that we can help those that are in that situation. So if you're at a point right now in your life, or you know someone where the person you are is not who you thought you would be, or there's a certain goal that you have set out to achieve that you find yourself very far from achieving it, or there's a certain struggle you're having with something in your life, or there's something that you hope to do but you haven't quite started because you're nervous to get started, or you have a lot of fear, or there's something holding you back. And so if you can relate to any of those statements, then please listen to this audio and once again share it with others that you feel may benefit. And so she told me that the first thing that she would tell someone, and that she told her friend who told her about this thing that they're struggling with, was to stay in a state of gratitude, to be thankful for the things that you do have, because sometimes in life we spend so much time worrying about all the things we haven't achieved and all the things we don't have, as opposed to really looking around, smelling the roses, and thanking God and ourselves for the things we have achieved, for the things that we do have, and for the ability to just get up in the morning and do things, for the ability to still be able to be creative, for the ability to still be able to have a mind that allows you to think great thoughts, to be thankful for the family that you have and the friends that you have and the abilities and gifts that you have, for the school that you went to, for the neighborhood you grew up in, for the lessons that life has taught you. And there's so many things to be grateful for. And I could not agree more with what she told her friend, and that is, number one, just remember to be grateful for what you have, and to spend more time worrying about being grateful for what you have than being in a state of scarcity, thinking of what you haven't achieved and what you haven't accomplished and what you don't have. And I said, I totally agree, and I would absolutely start with that. But then I said, but there's still something called the gap. And the gap is the difference between where you are today and where you would like to be in the future. And so I want you to imagine yourself looking down the road, and you see this bright light, and the bright light is the achievement of what you're trying to achieve. But then you look at the path in front of you, and you see potholes, and you see speed bumps, and you see guillotines coming across the scene. And those are all the things that can get in the way of your success. And so, obviously, to get to the other side, you have to do two things. One is have a mindset that allows you to move forward, and the other is to do certain behaviors that allow you to move forward. And so what I was telling my friend about the scenario of the gap, and that is where you are today versus where you'd like to be, the state of gratitude does a couple of things. Number one, it allows you to be very appreciative and happy and humbled by where you are today. Because there's a really good book by Sean Anker, who's a Harvard professor, called The Happiness Advantage. And the book basically says that successful people don't become happy. Happy people become successful. And if you are in a state of scarcity and doubt and fear right now, it's very difficult to take steps to get to the other side, to get to the achievement of the journey that's going to get you to the result that you want, which is a goal and the ambition that you set out for yourself. And so absolutely, you have to be happy right now. You have to be in a state of gratitude, and that is one of the very first steps you need to take right here in the moment. So really think about 5 things you can be grateful for, and also be grateful for the fact that you still have the ability to take the steps towards that path, right? Because sometimes you don't. But if you still can, then be in a state of gratitude and appreciation for at least the fact that you haven't been totally defeated, that you can learn from your setbacks, and you can still take action and move forward. And the action word is what I really want to talk to you about, because it's going to require an action to get from where you are today to the other side. So how do you do it? How do you close the gap? And it's all about your mindsets and your behaviors. And so the first mindset is, yes, be in a state of gratitude. But then here's the deal. Once you start taking steps, do you think the journey is going to be a piece of cake? Do you think you're not going to have any more setbacks and obstacles and things that come into your way that can get in the way? Of course you are. As a matter of fact, the more you try to achieve, sometimes the more difficult it is, because you have the more haters in your life and the naysayers and the people that tell you why it can't be done, why it shouldn't be done. The more days you have that you're like, oh, I'm on my journey, but I don't feel good this morning. I don't feel like it, and there's a setback that happened that's throwing me off, and something came along that is out of my control, that is getting in the way of my success. So you're going to have those things. So what are 2 things you can do to move from a state of gratitude to start taking steps again towards what you want to achieve? And the second thing, next second to gratitude, is attitude, right? Now, what does that mean? That doesn't mean that you're cocky or you have an ego. That just means that once you feel grateful, then you say, I am deserving to take this journey. I have the ability to take this journey. I am the perfect person to take this journey. This journey was designed for me in this lifetime, right here and in the moment. And then you get up and you change your posture. You stand taller. You put your shoulders back. You put your chin out. You open up your eyes. You look straight out. And you feel in your heart that you are deserving to go on the journey towards success. And you're deserving to achieve what it is out there that you're trying to achieve. That you are worthy to benefit from this thing that we all call life. And so the second thing is, you have to build up your attitude again. And why is that attitude important? Because once again, as you start taking steps again towards what you're trying to achieve, there's going to be people and things that come into your life that want to derail you. And if you're not grateful, and if you don't have a strong attitude and a good sense of yourself and a belief that you can do it, you'll find yourself back to where you started, which is in a state of feeling like a failure because you haven't done the things you're supposed to do, or you're sitting around looking across that path, seeing where you want to be, but you're not taking steps. So once you have gratitude, then you get an attitude about it, and that's going to help you get up and get going. So what is the third thing that I told my friend that one must do to get back on the path and get going again? So you have gratitude. Then you have attitude. Then you have action, right? You have to take action. You have to move forward. But there's 2 types of action that are really important. Let me explain what I mean. What I mean is this. 2 people can do the exact same action, but have completely different results. 2 people, once again, can do the exact same action, but have completely different results. And you go, how is that possible? Because one person takes action because it's out of fear, or because they are just trying to get through it, or because they want to check the box and say, see, I told you so. That's one way to take action. The other action is what I called inspired action. And that is the action where you do things at a first-class, first-rate level every chance you get. You are absolutely on fire about the things you're trying to achieve in life. You don't just take steps, you take powerful steps. You don't just, if you're writing a book, you don't just put the words on the paper. You let your brain go down to your heart and your soul, and you spit fire onto that paper based on the things that are inside your spirit to write, and you write. So one person can write and the words have no meaning because they don't put meaning behind it. Another person can write because it comes from the heart and their passion, and they get a completely different result. So how do you get from action to inspired action? And it's very simple. As you look across that path and you see that light, which is where you want to go, what you want to achieve, you remember why you want to go there. And you make your purpose bigger than the obstacles in front of you, because if your purpose and your why is bigger than the work required to get there, then you will not only get there, you will be in a state of gratitude once you get there. You will have a tremendous attitude once you get there, and you will enjoy the journey along the way. And sometimes we get disconnected from the activity as it relates to the purpose, right? And sometimes when you wake up in the morning and you're tired and you're stressed, but you know you have things to do, sometimes we don't do those things because guess what? We see them as simply actions, as simply things that you have to do, as a burden, because we have unplugged from the energy source of what I call your passion and your why. When you're plugged into your energy source of your why, for example, you're thinking about, I want to go across that road because of my family, because I want to show my daughter how her father is living the life that he's telling her to live in terms of following your dreams and passions. He's not just saying it, he's actually doing it. And what could be more inspiring than that? Or if you want to leave a legacy for your family, if you want to leave a legacy at your job, if you want to show young kids that anything in the world is possible, then guess what? That is a purpose. That is a why that's going to get you to where you want to get to, that's going to carry you forward no matter what happens in your life, and it's going to make you the person you were put on this earth to be. So as we wrap up, I want you to remember, if you're in a position where you don't feel like the person you're supposed to be right now, if you've had setbacks, if you've had difficulty, if life has been rough, if you started a project and you never finished it, if you have ambitions in life and you don't know how to get started, and somebody said something to you that threw you off, that was negative, or a big obstacle got in your way, first of all, that's okay, right? That's okay. Everybody goes through that. So yes, it is common. So what are the 3 steps to get through it? Number 1, start being appreciative for what you do have, for the abundance that is in your life, for all the positive things that you do have. So number 1, start in a state of gratitude. Number 2, work on your attitude. If nothing else, before your mind believes it, put your body in a position where you feel strong and have strength. Stand up, stand tall, shoulders back, chin up, direct eye contact, and your physiology will start to affect your mental state. And then from a mental standpoint, you start to remember the times where you were successful, you did accomplish things, and you remember how you felt and the power and the attitude that you have. And once again, it's not about having an ego. It's about knowing who you are, and you wake up and you present that to the world each and every single day without apology. So have that attitude. And the third thing is take inspired action. And inspired action versus action is simply this. You connect your activities to your purpose. You connect your activities to your why. You don't do things just to do things. You do things because there's a bigger purpose behind why you're doing it. Your family, your legacy, the children that are watching you, the people in this world that need you to serve as a bridge so they can achieve what they're trying to achieve, because guess what? You have set the path for them. And what can be more powerful than that to get you to take inspired action? So once again, thanks for listening and breaking it down with me today. If you enjoyed this message, please share it with as many people as possible. And visit JamarBrown.com. That's JAMARR Brown.com. And finally, remember this. Gratitude, attitude, action.